I saw this at the Gibson Demo Shop, and I decided I needed to take a chance. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. That's right, I took a chance on this guitar, and today we're going to see if it'll pay out or if I paid way too much for something that's not all that cool. Let's hope this is a real mind-boggler, because this is the first in-depth review that I think I've done of a Gibson Demo Shop guitar that has been modified. Now, we've unboxed them on the show before, but this is the first one that, you know, I just bought it because I thought it was a really cool color and it was worth documenting. And because it's kind of a Silverburst despite the title being gold sparkle top. So if you happen to have missed that video, you can check it out right here if you want to watch that before we unbox this thing. But holy cow, that is some secure packaging. But this case is actually feeling relatively light for a Les Paul. But we've got a few different topics that we can talk about today. A, we need to see how cool this thing actually looks in the flesh. B, what types of blemishes you can expect on a Gibson Demo Shop guitar. Let's go ahead and open this baby though. Oh, whoa. Whoa. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but that, I would call this galactic burst. So the whole story behind this one is I saw it get listed on the Demo Shop, and I really took a minute to look at this one, and I started to think, you know, I bet this would really come to life in person, and I decided to go for it. I mean, this is within seconds of it being listed. I had to decide, A, was this worth $5,600 or not? Because this is based off of a Les Paul Custom, just a regular one from the Custom Shop, and those are $4,699, I believe, brand new. However, whenever you have a limited edition finish going on it, normally these can be worth as much as $6,500. So I thought I would go ahead and take a chance because it wasn't priced at the top of the market. I figured we could do a nice review and demo, and then I would still be able to find a new home for this without, you know, losing a whole bunch of money. So it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's basically a Silverburst finish, which you can see right here, but when you get it in the light, it's got gold sparkle flakes underneath it. So if you kind of look at it at an angle, it just kind of all turns gold. I'm sure the B-roll shots, especially the dark one, will help you guys see this. And I was also talking in that other episode that I'm sure a lot of people will think it's rather a shame that they didn't burst the back and burst the sides and burst the neck and the back of the headstock. But the way I see it is this finish is really over the top. Like, there's even sparkles within the black finish right here. So the black also turns a gold color at certain angles. So if this whole entire thing was sparkly, I think it would have been distasteful. Like, a little bit too much of sparkles. So I think ultimately I agree with their decision to not burst the entire thing, even if it wasn't because of that. Maybe it was just a cost savings feature. But that looks great with the gold hardware. You normally don't see a Les Paul Silverburst, you know, have gold hardware. And ooh, a Custom Shop booklet, nice. You know, the last Custom Shop that I forwarded to somebody was that Lefty reissue. It did not have a COA like this. So I was almost ready to say, if you buy a Custom Shop from the Demo Shop, you're not necessarily going to get a COA. You just get like the new one that they do. So this is a new COA. It's not the original one. This is white. The normal ones are black, and it says repair and restoration. So it's nice that we at least get the old booklet on this one. So if you're not familiar with the Gibson Demo Shop, what they've been doing is there are modified guitars and demo guitars. Demo is essentially a factory second that never necessarily sold, or it sold and it came back because it had some sort of a cosmetic issue. But the mod guitars, sometimes it's just they change up the plastics a little bit. They give it different pickups. But other times there's the golden gooses, as I've been calling them, where they give them a really cool limited edition finish. And that is exactly what this particular one is. It was a finish that I thought people would get excited to see in person, because sometimes those stock photos, they just do not do these custom finishes justice. So let's go ahead and throw this thing on the workbench and take an individual look at its parts and specs. Inside the Sparkle Gold Burst Les Paul Custom. You know, I guess the Gold Burst kind of makes a little bit more sense because there was a finish called Gold Burst back in the early 80s. I mean, it didn't look like a silver burst like this, but at certain angles, like when the black turns to that golden hue, it starts to remind me of that. So it is kind of cool if you like sparkle finishes. But when I opened this up, I went, oh my goodness. Do you guys see what pickups they put in here? Custom Shop 68 aged. And if I'm remembering correctly, those are the pickups that you find in the Hendrix 68 SGs. So that is a massive upgrade to the 490R, 498T pickups that you normally get in this base model. So at least, you know, you're paying a premium for pickups and a cool finish instead of just, you know, you got a cool finish and that's it. So I was very pleased to see that. But as far as our pickup readings go, 6.84 in the bridge, so a little bit underwound as compared to most humbuckers, and 6.88 in the neck. So a combination should be, what, 3.5? Yeah, 3.43. And as far as our controls here, you just have individual volume controls for each, as well as tones for each pickup. But now let's go ahead and dive into these pickup cavities. So you can definitely tell it's been refinished because you don't see any of the usual markings in the cavities here. But what is kind of interesting are the Custom Shop Customs are now getting a long neck tenon. There was a period in time when the Custom Shop Customs would not get that. Now when I say Custom Shop Custom, this is not trying to be a reissue of any type. There are 57 reissues, there are 68 reissues. Those ones are the versions that get an ABR1 bridge and then period specific specs. Like the 57s, they have a mahogany top instead of maple. The 68s, they get, you know, something a little bit different up here, different neck profiles. But the reissues are way more expensive. This one right here, we can actually still see the maple top and the mahogany body. They must have had a piece of masking tape right here for some reason when they were doing the refinish job. And as far as our bridge pickup cavity, it's just covered over in this sparkly paint. Now, one thing that worries me is Gibson sparkle paint jobs are notorious for being awful. Like within a year or so, they will start vertical finish checking because lacquer, I guess, it just does not like sparkle finishes. So I don't know if it's necessarily Gibson's fault or whoever's actually making the guitar. More so, maybe the nitro lacquer does not play well with the sparkle finishes. So that is the unfortunate fate of this one, I do believe. But as of right now, I don't see any, so that's exciting. Maybe they put a little bit more plasticizer in here to get around that. But man, this finish is hard to get to show you guys the golden attributes. I mean, you can kind of see it here, but the effect is way more prevalent in person. But on top of the pickups being unique, they removed the golden covers, and we just have the golden pole pieces here, so that's kind of a nice little look. They also gave us the golden screws right there for the height adjustment. And then I don't really know what's going on with our bridge and tailpiece setup here. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So look at this. Do you see this Nashville style bridge? How it doesn't have gold right here? It's like this was a defect in a box or they slightly aged it. That's what these things usually look like after they've been played for a while. So they didn't say it was aged. I mean, the bottom looks okay, so I don't know the story on that. And the bridge, yeah, it's not that bad, but the tailpiece. If this was not intentional, okay, I'm not sure, because this one almost has no gold on it at all. It just has a little bit in these areas. The rest of this just almost looks chrome. But, you know, with this kind of mix-match gold and silver finish, it does kind of work. So it's an interesting feature, I guess you could say. Okay, but I think that's enough on the top. This is what it would look like without a pickguard installed. I think they could have pulled it off. So let's just take a minute to really appreciate this beauty. It is an interesting finish. I would have never thought of custom ordering it. Like, I've seen sparkle silver bursts before. Like, there was one for sale on Reverb not too long ago being sold as the original finish, but I was pretty darn confident that it wasn't the original finish. But this one, I mean, it's not the original finish, but it left the Gibson factory for the first time with this. So as far as I'm concerned, and as far as most people think about these, it is a collectible.
But as far as the binding, 7-ply on the front, 5-ply on the back, just like a regular Les Paul Custom. So let's go ahead and grab our neck dimensions here. So we have a mahogany neck with a true ebony fretboard. If you didn't know, Gibson started using ebony again on their custom shop customs. There was a period in time from 2011 till I think it's early 2019, maybe mid 2019, because towards the end of that, they finally brought ebony back. So no more rich light on these guys, which some people like, some people don't. It's just a matter of preference. There were some really cool models that were made in that time period that do have rich light, so I can share a little bit of love for each. But generally, I would prefer the real wood if it's an option. But our nut width here is 1.68 inches, and that increases to 2.06 by the 12th, with a first fret neck depth of 0.85. And by the 12th, 0.97. So this is kind of like a medium C, I would say. Here you can see it at the first fret and the 12th fret. It's comfortable, but definitely a little bit on the thinner side. We've got that 24 3/4 inch scale length with the usual 22 frets on here with real mother of pearl inlays. And I'd say those look like medium jumbo frets to me. So everything's looking okay. But if you remember correctly, there was like a giant gouge out of the side of the neck. And when I saw that after I purchased it, because that's the thing, I was talking to somebody about this, in order to get a custom shop exclusive finish, one of the cool ones anyways, when it's listed, you have to buy it, and then you just have to accept whatever type of defects it might have, because, if you don't, it's going to be sold out. And I'm very happy to report those are pretty much just scuffs. They're not deep gouges like those photos were making it look, so just a couple of scratches, I'm not worried about that. Typically, I find that the demo shop is a little bit hypercritical of what they sell, most of the times. So as far as our headstock goes here, we have a Les Paul Custom truss rod cover. The truss rod itself is in great shape, and they swapped it out for golden tuners. Well, now that I think about it, since the whole back of this guitar is black, this probably started life as a black Les Paul Custom. It got the scratches, so it got sent to the trash heap until they figured out what they wanted to do to it. So they probably just refinished the top of this in the sparkle finish and then sold it on from there. Great repurposing. So all this gold hardware probably is original to it. They probably didn't have to swap it out like I was originally thinking they would have done for everything. But anyways, we have our beautiful Gibson Mother of Pearl logo and our custom emblem. Let's go ahead and swap over to the back side. And here we are on the back side. This control cavity looks a little bit strange. Normally you have like some sort of a plate underneath it, or if you don't, on a custom shop version, you have sort of a finish there, but this one, you just get to see the maple wood grain underneath there. Okay, that's interesting. Now the solder work does not look the cleanest. Like, that is not a custom shop level solder job. But at the same time, you have to remember, they did not have a clean slate to start from. They would have had to have installed these pickups after the fact, because they're not the original ones that came in here, and they would have to do that when they were refinishing it. I mean, it looks like it's going to work. I'm not meaning to offend anybody here, but, it's hard when you're the second guy doing it. Trust me, my soldering job would look way worse than that. But that's why they offer a playability guarantee. And I learned this when I interviewed the guy who runs the demo shop here. That is actually a transferable warranty. So say I sell this guitar and Joe gets it and this stops working because of a bad solder joint or something. He can then send it into Gibson on his own and get it repaired under warranty. So that's kind of cool that 2-year playability warranty does cover that for if it does get resold. I would not have guessed that would have happened. But as far as the pots, it looks like just the regular Gibson stuff. But the back, you can definitely see this has been kind of scratched up back here. Those are some deeper scratches than just what you normally see on a regular ebony finished guitar. But we can see there is a small ding right here, so maybe that's initially what did it in to end up in the demo shop. But who cares? It took an interesting journey. Note, thin binding in the cutaway. Now going up the back side of the neck, the only thing that I think would have made this even better is A, they gave it a maple neck, or B, leave it just like this, but give it a white stinger. Please, demo shop guys, start doing that. I mean, the reason they probably don't is so they don't have to restamp their serial numbers. But this guitar, sparkle blinged out front Silverburst look, but then on the back a very classic white stinger to really just show that this thing's a little bit more special than the rest. But here you can see where they stamped it mod, and our original serial number 138-4 with regular gold Grover tuners and a custom shop decal. And these generally have 9-hole weight relief on them. That's something else that makes them different. But this one weighs just a little over 9 pounds. 9 pounds, 3 ounces. So let's go ahead and plug this gold Silverburst sparkle dark back Les Paul Custom in and hear how this thing sounds. Okay, let's go ahead and run through the tones of this thing. So listen to your neck pickup here. And switch it over to your bridge. You can tell that's going to be great with distortion. And then you can blend those two for your middle pickup tones. Let's go ahead and switch over to some distorted tones. Now that we know all about this Gibson Demo Shop custom creation, what are my final thoughts on this thing? The pickups in this, I really like that bridge pickup. It's a bit harsh on the clean tone, so you gotta roll your tone down just a little bit to tame it, but then it just lets loose in the dirty section, and that is what that is for. The neck pickup, definitely a bit muddy, but I mean, it just depends, you know, what you're trying to use it for. So I think ultimately, if you're a fan of the Silverburst finish, you're gonna like this. It's different. Like in person, it's just nothing like you're seeing here. Like I'll try to get it here, or if not, I'll show you a photo of it when it turns gold in this area. But you know, on stage, most people, they're probably just gonna think, oh, it's a Silverburst, but kind of sparkly. So it's kind of cool in that aspect. Do I regret buying it? No. I thought this was a fun little video, even if it was just a vanity review to check this out and how they're doing the new Les Paul Customs. Now, unfortunately, I mean, that's not the same pickup, so if you're looking to purchase a brand new Les Paul Custom, it's going to sound a little bit different. I mean, the 490R, 498T pickups, they're not bad. I still like them personally, but these are definitely a bit more rare of pickups because I don't think you can actually buy these things separately. So ultimately, how do I feel about the Demo Shop? I've bought a few guitars from them. I would say this is the one that has the most things wrong with it. Here, let me show you. Now, most of these are cosmetic blemishes that they did disclose, but like on this one, you can see along the neck, they've got a little bit of a deeper scratch right there, and then some other impressions. It's like, how does that happen? They're not cracks, they're just impressions, and I never saw it until I stood right in front of my studio lights. But on top of that, up here, you can kind of see those impressions that we were talking about earlier. Nowhere near as bad as their photos made it seem. There's a very small ding through the black paint at the edge of the headstock right there. In fact, there's a small one on the other side as well. And of course, we have that ding right here on the back side of the instrument, and all those scratches that we had talked about earlier. So yeah, it was a factory second. It had some issues, but what an interesting way to rebirth this guitar. Give it a cool custom paint job, and then give it life as a collectible for the rest of its life. So troglodytes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with a friend who you think would enjoy it, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next video. Take care.